The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What's up, everybody? It's the week of November 9th, 2020. My name is Taylor Cooper. This is Might Be Sports. With me, as always, Kevin Reavy. What's going on, Reavy?
Howdy ho.
We are sponsored by Eunomia CBD. Go to eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN. Get 20% off, free shipping and free shit. Also, make sure you go check out the all-new website, mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier for you to find your new favorite podcast. It's really looking sharp. You go to the website, say Might Be Sports is your favorite show on the network. Click on Might Be Sports. You'll see the latest episode as well as a playlist dedicated to Might Be Sports. You'll have all the episodes of Might Be Sports without having to sift through all the other episodes and shows on the network. Like if you go to iTunes or Spotify, if that's how you listen to Might Be News, the Might Be News Network, this is a little bit easier for you to pinpoint what show you want to listen to and consume as much of it as you want. So go to mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier for you to find your new favorite podcast. Also, go over to patreon.com/mbnnetwork. Sign up, $5 a month. You'll get some exclusive episodes. You'll get a whole bunch of different things. We do monthly giveaways over there. We're just getting started back up on Patreon, which is great. So head over there, check that out. And what am I forgetting? Anything? Check out the store. We got merch too. We got shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs for all your favorite shows on the network, including some other ones like the Dumb Fucks and FUQs. Go over there, check it out. It's great. Reavy, how are you doing, man?
Never better. Feeling good.
Feeling good, huh?
Escaped COVID again. One more week under my belt.
There you go. Another week down, no COVID, huh?
Cases go up, and so does my immunity, my basic immunity to all diseases. I haven't had so much as a sniffle since last January.
Wow.
So
you're lucky. I've had a couple scares, man. We've just been like, not really just us being like having scares, but like people that we know and are in contact with every day, like at work and stuff like that. They've gotten scares, which it's kind of like, well, shit, have I been in contact with somebody? Luckily so far, we've dodged all those bullets. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it keeps going. I was supposed to have CJ here over the weekend, but we kind of canceled all of our plans because somebody at work, was waiting on a COVID test. And it's like, it's hard because where do you draw the line, right? Like, where do you draw the line of being like, am I being overly cautious? Am I being stupid? And
you don't think about my fiance, she had one, she took a test, and it was more so, we were pretty sure what it was. It was just, she had a cold or like a sinus infection. We were pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
But, we hadn't taken a test yet. We hadn't gone through that process. So it was more so we just wanted to see how that worked. But then once we got the test, then we kind of realized after the fact, well, oh shit. Well, now we have to pretend as if it is positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're waiting on them to get back to us. And it was, 3 or 4 days of her not going to work. And I still worked because my thing is like, for one day, you kind of felt off.
Right.
And she knew somebody that may have gotten it. So it's like this whisper down the lane thing where it's like, well, work's not going to, if I go into work and say, well, my fiance may have gotten it from somebody who may have gotten it, there's not enough there.
Yeah.
So
my job is pretty much like, if you've gotten tested for it, you should stay home. But if you think you came in contact with somebody and you're not awaiting a test result, you know what I mean? They're just like, you might as well be at work. And that's how I feel too. Like if I'm not waiting for a test result, like I should be okay. But like I had a cough. I have a cough. Over the weekend, I had a sore throat and I was like, oh, geez. And I was supposed to have CJ over to record. I was supposed to have Ahmed over to record, and it was just like, not in good conscience, sit across from the table from somebody and just be doing this. But like, it's getting to the point where it's like, I really miss having everybody over. I really miss having the studio vibe, and because it's not easy producing these shows remote. It's not like everybody has their own microphones now, and like you've been having some issues with it, and other people have had some issues with it, and it's not easy recording a good sounding podcast on the internet, because the internet sucks in general, right? So like, if you go to, if I'm recording this through my board, if I wasn't doing that, it would sound like just totally laggy and blurry and shitty. And it's like, we're doing the best we can, but it's like, fuck. But the good news is that they announced they're getting closer to a vaccine. I was reading up on it a little bit today, obviously non-sports related, but we'll get into a little bit of that here in a minute. But, it's I think the main problem that they're going to face with this new vaccine that they're working on, the biggest problem that I heard is that it has to be stored at lower than normal temperatures, as most vaccines. So that might not be an issue for us. First world problems, it won't be a real issue for us, but third world countries, it would be a challenge because, a lot of places don't have the capacity to store things like that. So I think they're kind of working around some of the issues, with that, but they're saying like 90%, satisfaction with this thing so far, and no real side effects to be seen. They also don't know how long the protection will last from this vaccine. If it's going to be like you get it once and it's over, or, if you have to get it once every couple years or whatever, they don't know that yet. And they probably won't know for a little while, but it's at least moving in the right direction. I also heard of a couple other treatments that have been really, really good recently for COVID, but the majority of them you kind of have to get through IV, which I don't know. It's all so crazy, man. And everybody that I know is just like totally fucking over it. And, like I wear a mask at work whenever I'm close to somebody. But I'm pretty much one of the only people that does that at work. And it kind of drives me nuts. But I mean, we're sitting here, we're dodging all these bullets. We're dodging this bullet. We're dodging that bullet. But like, nobody's fucking wearing a mask. What do you expect? So like, it's just kind of, I don't know, man. It drives me crazy. And then with the election, and it's still going on, and it's just stressful times for everybody. And I'll tell you
what's kind of wild. Last week I was with some friends. We were in his backyard, about 4 or 5 of us, and I had brought this beer. And I was debating in my head whether to name the beer, but I'm going to name the beer because they screwed me. My old college buddy, I won't name him, but he runs Evil Genius Beer.
Okay.
And I'm in love, right? I had been in love with this new beer that he came out with. I don't entirely, you know what? It's called Brunch So Hard. It's a co-op, a collaboration with Miller Lite, with Miller High Life. Oh. So it's called the Mimosa of Beers, a play on the champagne of beers. So it's like an orangey, delightful beer.
Oh.
So I bring this to our little get together, and all they had was it wasn't cold. So I got it from the beer distributor. It wasn't cold. I crack one open, and immediately I feel like I have a sore throat. Like it's going down rough. Yeah. And I'm thinking, after a while, I'm thinking, no, it's because I'm thinking, everybody gets scared. Like, shit, am I now like getting a symptom like in a sore throat? Is this a symptom of COVID? As I drink more of it, I'm like, this is probably the beer. I wonder if when it's not cold, if it doesn't taste right.
Right.
So just by total chance, a buddy of mine comes with a 4-pack of cold ones.
Yeah.
Now we swap and start drinking the cold ones. And now they taste good. So I'm like, all right, theory is right. Cold, it tastes better.
Yeah.
Well, enough time goes by, we're back to my batch. And then someone pours it into a glass. And it is cloudy, brown. It does not look how it's supposed to look.
Really?
I'm drinking out of the can. I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And now we're all drinking it, and we're all like, this goes down rough. I got a bad batch. I got a really bad batch. And it was so disappointing.
That sucks.
Because, like,
well, at least you don't have COVID.
Beer, well, yeah, that was the good part. But beer is so good now.
Yeah.
You never get bad beer.
Right.
Unfortunately. And maybe I'm sure it was just an aberration. Somehow it was a bad batch. But when he poured it in, when he showed me the glass, and I just hadn't been paying attention. He'd been drinking out of the glass. He finished 3/4 of it. He didn't say anything to me. He thought that's what it tasted like normally. And then we're all like, oh yeah, this is not right. But so there you go for the Beers podcast, Might Be Brews. Maybe I should come on and ask the experts what happens when it gets like cloudy like that. It's not supposed to, and it goes down like peppery. What happened to it?
I wonder if that means it got skunked. Like maybe it was cold and then it like got moved out into like the warm.
I've had skunky beer and it tastes fruity. So I wonder if fruity beer goes like peppery.
But that could
be. Hey, that should be a segment on Might Be Brews. Like people call in with like what went wrong with their beers. And then, the experts say, here's what went wrong with your brew. But
I got a notification earlier that the Eagles, there's a coach on the Eagles that has tested positive for COVID.
Are you trying to talk sports right now with me? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, I'll bring it in. But
yeah,
you kind of mentioned something that I wanted to touch on, just speaking of COVID. Like, to me, I think that the one of the scariest parts of it, and the thing that like I'm always thinking about, and kind of when I think of COVID, I'm always thinking about how it takes up to 2 weeks for you to even notice that you're sick, that you have it. Like, that's the shitty part about this thing, and I think that that's what the big deal about it is because, just think about how long 2 weeks is. Like, that 2 weeks is a long time.
A long time.
And especially by today's standards, with how fast everything's always moving and how short our attention spans are as a culture. But as far as like just 2 weeks, that's a long time. That's a whole pay period for me. You know what I mean? And like to think that like I could go to work 10 days before I even know that I'm sick, that's scary shit, And I think that's what's so freaky about this whole thing, really, is just like you just don't know. And when you find out, it's already way too late. You know what I mean? And I see people like we were invited to a bunch of Halloween parties, and I'm seeing on Facebook a lot of people going, and Jackie and I, we were talking about it one day. It's just like, what do we do? Like, I really genuinely feel like we just need to hunker down and just admit early that the holidays are going to be pretty lonesome and boring this year. Like, I just don't really see any other way around it right now. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. And especially with the numbers going up, you're seeing professional sports teams, even with all the protocols that they're taking, people are getting sick. I don't know, man. It's a shame. It's a real shame.
It's kind of funny. Like, if this video goes up, you'll see I'm wearing my Masters gear. But the Masters was originally postponed because things were like quote unquote out of control. Mm-hmm. And now things are getting quote unquote out of control again. And Masters are starting up. And it's kind of funny that it's gotten to that point. I mean, we are at the point now where like, all right, I think for the most part, like things just have to go on.
Yeah.
I think when football started up and in college football, there was some tests in the pros, and before we thought like, one guy goes out, they got to shut down the whole league. It's not really been like that.
Right.
And they kind of keep chugging along, and they've done a pretty good job, but with the Masters going on, it's like, all right, things now have to just keep going on. And
what are they doing for the Masters? Are they allowing a crowd in?
I actually don't know. It crept up on me the Masters is one of those things where typically you kind of see it coming because the advertising for it, especially if it's still through ESPN, they go pretty hard with it, with their advertising ramping up to the Masters. It's the first, major big tournament of the season.
Right.
And when the Masters is coming like a solid month beforehand to 2 months. This time around with the reschedule, I hadn't heard a thing about it on like any mainstream sports advertising until a few days ago. And that's when I remembered, oh shoot, this must be the rescheduled date. So I actually don't know so much about, I know about the field, who's favorite and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not sure about fans. I guess if it's in Georgia, I know they're pretty lax, or at least they were. I think they still are. I would imagine they would have fans. I think it's pretty damn easy to space out fans for that kind of thing. I would think that they are going to have fans. And I would just think they would scale it down.
Yeah.
Maybe 25%.
Yeah.
And then just tell people to just distance, because it wouldn't be that difficult to do.
No.
And then just have maybe extra, people out there, instead of just, they got a bunch of guys out there, looking for balls and keeping people in line. Also make sure people are, distancing and doing all that stuff. So I'm sure they're doing that.
Yeah.
But I think that's the one sport. I think they figured out, like, no matter what's going on, even with things going out of control now with cases, that of all sports, golf, the show can go on for sure.
Yeah. Because they don't, and that's the reason why I asked if there was going to be a crowd, is because golf, like you mentioned before, in football, how they've really done a good job with the crowd, and we've talked about how kind of weird baseball was with the cardboard cutouts and stuff like that. But golf is one of those sports where you don't, in my opinion, the crowd isn't the sport, right? It's not, it's part of it, but it's not make or break for golf, right? Just like I would say, NASCAR isn't make or break. Who cares who's in the stands for a NASCAR race? Just who cares who's in the,
totally right.
I feel like golf, they could just be like, all right, everybody come out, let's play golf. And because who cares who else is there?
Add something to it for golf. I don't remember, but I don't think they were. I'm pretty damn sure they weren't feeding in crowd noise for the last major. That would be weird to do with golf, I think. So they're kind of at a disadvantage doing that. So right. I can't imagine they would do that. So they kind of need that crowd for, big shots, and it just makes it that much better. I remember watching Tiger Woods, I believe it was the Masters, when he had that miraculous chip.
Yeah.
That everybody knows. There was a whole Nike commercial about it where he just chips on and just rolls, and hangs on the lip and drops in.
Yep.
Part of what made that so special is you hear the crowd,
the reaction,
cheering it as it goes, and then they go silent when they think it's going to stop, and then they erupt when it goes in. You have that same thing with no crowd, and it's
just Tiger fist pumping and yelling,
celebrating at the end, yeah. And then it's probably even creepier because we'll be able to actually hear him over the crowd, and maybe his voice cracks and he goes yeah. And it totally ruins the moment. So
just totally demasculates your favorite golfer.
The crowd takes care of all that. Or if he curses by mistake, if he goes fuck yeah, and then instead we have just a bleeped moment.
Yeah, you're
for the
right.
rest of our lives. So the crowd plays a factor, but
it does. But it's just at the end of the day, I would assume that they're going to do what you were saying. They're just going to scale it back. A certain percentage of the capacity is allowed in, and maybe it's just you can only do one day so that other people can see the next day or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be interesting. When is that? Is that this weekend?
That starts when people will be hearing this. It is tomorrow. So Thursday through Sunday. Okay. And it'll be exciting. I mean, again, if the video goes live, I have my hat choice of who I think is gonna win this thing. So if you'll allow me, Bryson DeChambeau. So for anybody listening to this who can't see it, again, who knows if we're gonna get the video up, but I'm wearing, the classic Bryson DeChambeau. I don't know what you would call this, a newsboy type hat.
Yeah, it's like
the only guy on the tour, as far as I know, that dons this cap and the Puma.
That's your pick. That's your guy.
I like the quirky guys. I'm a quirky guy. He's got a weird swing. I like Ricky Fowler, but it's kind of a little too trendy. And also, I'm not a 17-year-old girl, so it's like, how big of a Fowler fan can you be as a 37-year-old straight man? But yeah, so for what it's worth. But I mean, Tiger's always been my guy, so I'm going Tiger through and through. Speaking of hats, I picked up another, my only Tiger hat I bought yesterday. I can't show you a photo, but imagine this and tell me this is not the greatest design for a golf hat of all time. It is a goat with tiger stripes.
Wow. I do like that. That's nice.
Right?
Yeah. I'd like to see that whenever you get it.
So check out Waggle Golf, not a sponsor, but Waggle Golf sells that. And for all your other golf needs, go to WilliamMurrayGolf.com because it's the greatest apparel company of all time.
They are a sponsor.
So who would have thought we'd be talking on golf?
Yeah, that's new.
Want to knock out some NFL talk?
What is there to talk about in the NFL? I guess they're like halfway through the season, right? I
feel a little vindicated with Lamar Jackson not playing so well. But I mean, I've been saying it for years, and only now is he kind of playing shitty or just coming back down to earth. So I'm not right. I'm just, kind of cherry picking here. But his style of play, you're seeing a lot of running quarterbacks, but what do? They can throw the damn ball. Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, the new guys. Tua throws a real accurate football.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, he can run, but he can throw first and foremost. I think these guys are now eclipsing Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson, when he throws, I feel like he's getting worse. His mechanics are garbage. It's so bad. He has no mechanical awareness at all whatsoever when he throws. I mean, I don't know anything, but when you see him throw the ball, it's almost like he's improvising every time. You see a guy like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and those kind of guys, they have a certain
confidence.
They have a process.
Yeah.
I mean, what I know most about is baseball. And you talk to pitchers, they break down how to throw a baseball to an absolute science. They know like the arm angle, trajectory. They look at, spin rates, pitch speed, all kinds of stuff. They analyze every part of it, and it's all down to a science about where they deliver the baseball and how they deliver that baseball. From their arms to their legs, the whole thing. And you look at Lamar Jackson throw a football, and it just feels like he's winging it out there.
Yeah, he doesn't look confident when he throws the ball. Like, I noticed that when, just to kind of draw a comparison from like Aaron Rodgers or, more closely resembling Lamar Jackson, looking at like Mahomes. Mahomes, when he runs the ball, he looks confident. When he throws the ball, he looks confident. He looks comfortable, right? And confidence can come from comfort. Like if you know that you're good at it, if you know that you can do it, you're going to look confident, you're going to look comfortable. And Lamar Jackson looks confident and comfortable when he's running up the field, but he doesn't look comfortable and confident when he drops back to throw the ball. And I feel like that deer in the headlights kind of blink of an eye attitude will get you screwed up by defenses that are prepared. And that's like his tell, right? That's his tell. Oh, he looks a little, he doesn't look that confident. He doesn't look that comfortable. He's probably going to throw the ball, or like he's just going to throw an interception because you're right. Like his mechanics, they're not there. And I feel like he's been training his entire life to be a quarterback, but I feel like he's excelling in one thing and falling behind on another. And what's going to happen is that, you can work on mechanics and you can get better with that with time. But in time, that other aspect of his game that is great is going to start faltering because you can't keep up that momentum for very long, certainly in the NFL, like you've said many times. So, like, Lamar Jackson, I think you're going to get what you're seeing out of him right now. I don't think that's – maybe he's not in his prime, but I don't think that he's far off from being past it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mahomes is going to be great for a long time, barring injury, right? I feel like he's got enough of a well-rounded game that, like a Russell Wilson, he will be able to evade the tackles, evade getting hit, but also be able to make a play as a dynamic playmaker, not just a one-dimensional playmaker like a Lamar Jackson, which I don't like to admit. I really like Lamar Jackson, but you're right. He's falling behind. He's like the Ben Simmons in the NFL. Like, he's just, you want him to throw, and it's just not good. It's just not good. You want Ben Simmons to shoot, and he's just not. It's just not there.
Well, that's the thing too, and I think it's interesting you bring up Ben Simmons because I think I've said the same about both guys. You bring in, and there's way more examples of this in the NBA where somehow, some way, you bring guys into the NBA and you can make them into shooters. There are guys that came into the NBA, couldn't shoot a lick, and then they became shooters.
Yep.
I wonder if there's some athleticism to that. I don't know if that's an aberration too, but my whole thing has always been, when I say this about Lamar Jackson, about Ben Simmons, is that there are guys that have been shooting their entire lives. There are guys that have been throwing footballs their entire lives, and they got really good, really accurate. They honed that skill. So to say that Lamar Jackson can now become an elite thrower now at this stage in his life, it doesn't statistically make sense because that's not what he's been good at his whole life.
Yeah.
And he's just going to turn it on and just that part of his game is going to be great. I don't buy it.
If he could work his way to a above average throwing quarterback with the other aspect of his game, I think he could be considered an elite quarterback.
His athleticism puts him in positions where he can make throws.
Right.
So he can get out into the open spaces and make these throws.
Yeah.
But
if he could get the mechanics down and still maintain that runner aspect of his game.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't see that happening because
I don't see it either. But if he could, he would be elite.
It would take too much work. I mean, these guys are doing this over an entire lifetime, and he has to do it in one off season. I don't see it happening. And Cam Newton, I kind of see the same thing. His MVP season, I think, came when his athleticism was just off the charts.
Yeah. And
he was able to open up situations for himself in the passing game. Well, now he's not as mobile as he used to be, and he has these terrible mechanics. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed this, but even when Cam is throwing like a 10-yard pass, he looks like he's loading up to throw way downfield.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's like lean back, and then he comes over the shoulder and like passes down. It's terrible mechanics, and it takes a while to get that motion through, and it's just there's so much going on there, and he's worked on correcting that. But I think, again, it's one of those problems where if you're relying your whole life on doing things a certain way and you lose that athleticism, it's too late in the game to all of a sudden become a pocket passer. He's got enough skills to kind of pull it off, but I mean, now we're seeing what Cam was last year, and he's breaking down and things just aren't working out. It comes down to that. Can he make those throws? And he's not making them.
Yeah, it's Cam, man. New England's having a tough year. That Jets game was pretty bad, what I saw of it. And but at the same time, Tampa Bay got smashed by the Saints over the weekend. That was fun to watch.
Antonio Brown is just cursed, I guess. It is weird that they would sign him.
It is weird.
Why mess with something that's kind of working out?
Yeah, I don't get it either. I really don't. When I saw that, I was like, why are they doing this? Like they have enough weapons, certainly on offense. Like why do they need him who hasn't been in the league for what? It's been 2 years now?
Yeah, I think so. He played a little bit last year.
Is that right? Yeah.
He played one game for the Patriots.
The Patriots. That's right.
I think that might have been the only team he played for.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think he ever suited up for the Raiders, but yeah.
No, he didn't. You're right. That's right. I forgot about that.
I don't know. I mean, that seems like a wild move, and it's so crazy that it took the coronavirus to have us just like, ho-hum, Antonio Brown just comes back into the league and like nobody even notices.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
When like, who would have thought he would so easily come back?
Yeah.
I mean, it just seemed like he was done forever, or it was just going to take so much time.
Yeah.
But he just waltzes right back into our lives.
Like nothing ever happened.
And, we got bigger fish to fry now. We're not so concerned about Antonio Brown, but
right.
I guess it'll be interesting to see if he blows things up again. It'll be another interesting side thing to watch with the NFL.
Couldn't happen to a better team.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm rooting for the Bucks. I've always been like a closet Patriots and Brady fan, so I'm a little sad that Antonio Brown is blowing up the Bucks and the Patriots are just going in the shitter.
Yeah,
so
it's bad.
And then our Eagles.
They're terrible.
It's hard to say. I mean, I feel like I have I've kind of been calling these Cowboys games lately. I have a good beat on the Cowboys. They're better than people think. And that these last 2 weeks, the line has been out of control. So the line was like, I forget what it was, 12 and a half, 13 and a half points against the Eagles 2 weeks ago. And I thought that was just way too much.
Yeah.
And the game goes off. The wind, the weather's out of control. And, I mean, it's playing out exactly like that. It's like a 6-point game, the whole damn game. And then a defensive touchdown at the end, and you have a final score of 23-9, and the Eagles cover. And on paper, it looks like kind of a blowout, like a defensive blowout by the Birds. But you go back and look at that game, and the Cowboys were just kind of in desperation mode the whole time.
Yeah.
They could have kicked a bunch of field goals. They went for it on fourth, just like bad luck things. They were kind of taking it to the Eagles pretty hard. They had the lead at halftime. They're not a terrible team. They're just not a team yet. Right. And then last week against the Steelers, again, massive line. I think it was like 14 points. And all I saw was the Steelers leaking oil and the Cowboys sort of coming together, and a situation where it's like, we got nothing to lose. And the Cowboys played like that. They had nothing to lose. They had trick plays. One almost resulted in a touchdown on a kick return. And I believe they had the lead at halftime. Now that one covered, but I'm thinking the Cowboys aren't done yet. Like, they still have some talent. They have their entire wide receiver core healthy. Zeke doesn't look the same. It looks like he's kind of running in mud.
Yeah.
I talked to Andrew DeCecco, our guy on the inside, about that, and he kind of agreed with me. He's not running with power the way he used to. So I don't know what that's all about, but he's apparently healthy. Their offensive line is in shambles. Their defense is the worst in football up to this point. But I still think there's something there, and that, when you have a team like that, Dallas, which is always a mess, and you have no offseason and a brand new head coach, that's just a recipe for disaster. Right. And then the quarterback goes down and or whatever it was. So I think if it only takes 7 wins to win this division, the Cowboys are still very much in it at 2-7.
Yeah, there.
And the Eagles right now, I think, are 3-4-1.
Yeah, no, it's not over.
So it could go either way, but I mean, for sure, the Eagles are not running away with this.
Right.
Washington, they don't have a chance. The Giants are done. It's going to come down to the Cowboys and Eagles. But I'm just saying, do not count out the Cowboys. I don't know what the line's going to look like. Maybe the bettors are going to catch up to it this week, and the line will be closer. But just don't bet them. Don't count them out, rather.
Yeah. Let's go to the week and get out of here.
Let's do it.
Might Be Sports presents the greatest of all time.
of the week.
All right, my clear cut go to the week. This week is Chris Nikic. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. Chris Nikic, a 21-year-old from Florida, has become the first athlete with Down syndrome to finish the Ironman race. Nikic finished a triathlon on November 7th, excuse me, swimming 2.4 miles, biking 112 miles, and running 26.2 miles in just under 17 hours. That is incredible. It's an incredible story, and I was reading about it, and he trained really hard for this, and it's really, really cool. He's already training he's excited for next year's Ironman. 21-year-old Chris Nikic, you are my go to the week. Absolutely fantastic.
That's a good one. That made me think. If I ever did and completed a triathlon, I would like get on social media or like get in front of a camera and I'd be like, do or do not. There is no triathlon. It just came to me.
There you go.
I think that's a pretty good line though.
You
that
have
could be on a t-shirt.
Now you have a reason to do it.
Yeah. So get that t-shirt up at nbnnetwork.com.
Yeah, there you go.
My go to the week is going to be, I'm going to pick, all right, I'm going to say it's going to be Bryson DeChambeau winning the Masters this week. Now, here's the interesting thing about him and why I'm going to root for him over Tiger, maybe over Tiger. We'll see how it goes if he's got a shot. Bryson, I believe, is the favorite. He won the last major with no fans. And he's got a reputation for being kind of a hothead. The fans in the past have gotten to him. And he's chirped back at fans, and they've gotten under his skin. And people always said, that's going to be what holds him back from winning a major. His nerves, and he won't be able to keep it together under pressure. With no fans, he won a major. So there are people within golf that are saying it's kind of got an asterisk next to it because people wonder whether he would have won it legitimately the way it's normally played. So he's got extra motivation.
Yeah.
And as much as I hate that like expression, like the extra motivation, it's like, there's a bunch of guys in this field that are highly, highly motivated.
Yeah.
But it's a good storyline.
He's got a chip on his shoulder. Yeah.
He does. And golf is a momentum game. Like plenty of years, guys sort of like the cream rises to the top, whether it's, Brooks Koepka, of course, Tiger in the past, a whole bunch of guys. And maybe now it's Bryson's turn to kind of go on a run. And if he wins the Masters, and again, we don't know, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have fans. It's a whole different ball game. Total validation for him. So I'm rooting for that. And 1B, I'll go Tiger. If he gets one more Masters, he ties Jack Nicklaus. So that would be nice to see. I've always been a big Tiger fan.
Yeah.
My favorite basketball player growing up was Michael Jordan. Favorite golfer is Tiger Woods. I'm a front runner, man.
There you go. Well, great job this week, Reavy. I appreciate you being on the show with me as always, man. And everybody out there, make sure you go check out nbnnetwork.com. It's really, really nice. Shout out to April and Mike for helping me with that. Also go to eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN. Get 20% off free shipping and free shit. Reavy, peace out, man. I'll see you next week, dude. Everybody, have a great week. Go watch the Masters. Tune in. Hopefully we have a new episode of Might Be Tunes on Friday. See you guys next time.